All right, we are in section 5.2 where we're going to use perpendicular bisectors. Now, we talked about bisectors early on in the class, and when we talked about bisecting something, we talked about splitting either a line segment or a plane or something to that nature in half. So the rules still apply, or you're still going to get this midpoint type of situation. So when we were looking at a bisected point, which means that if in this particular instance we have, a bisected line between the two, which means that the distance between these two line segments are the same, and the intersection of that is the midpoint. Okay, so the word bisector still stays the same. What's now we get into perpendicular bisectors. Perpendicular bisectors mean that it intersects at a 90-degree angle. Okay, and what we're going to do in this portion is we're going to talk about how to construct these kinds of figures. So what we're going to do is this. So we got ourselves various line segments here, and I want to construct a perpendicular bisector. So here's what we got to do. So let's look at something first. First thing we have to do is we are going to put our compass, which is what we have here, we're going to put our compass on one endpoint, and I want to extend compass over half of the line segment. So whatever you seem fit. So if I go like this, I obviously know that where I'm going to strike is more than half. So what I'm going to do is at this point I want to make a mark here somewhere, and then I'm going to make another mark on the other side, so right here. All right, so I have two tick marks. So I want to extend my compass over half, and what I want to do now is I want to put my compass on the other side here. Without changing the distance of how we extended the compass, I'm going to make another mark. And these marks will intersect. And they intersect at a very specific point. So I look at this, I'm going to make a line, have it connect from this point here, and it has two very distinct characteristics. One is these two are midpoints, and this is 90 degrees. So I created this perpendicular bisector. Okay, let's take a look at the next example. So the next example here, I'm just going to move it out this way. Again, I'm going to extend my compass to over half, and so I'm going to go over here, and I'm not quite certain, so I'm going to extend it a little further, and same thing applies. I'm going to make a pass here, and then go to the bottom of the line and make another pass down here. Now without moving the distance that I have, I'm going to create my endpoint, bring it over here, make it so it intersects, and same thing over here. Make it so it intersects, which then I get, if I construct my line, you're going to need to use a straight edge probably to help you out. So I go over here and I extend it all the way to here. So this is something that is midpoints here and 90 degrees from here. And then finally, I'll look at this last one here, which is right here. Bring my compass down. Is it over half? It looks like it, but I might just extend it a little further just to be certain. Again, I'm going to make my mark here, go to the other side, I'm going to extend my line, make my mark here without moving the compass distance. Go over here, make another mark, come on up, make a mark over here, and I got my line. I connect the 2 points, and same thing goes. These 2 lines are midpoints, and this is perpendicular. Okay? So with knowing that, we can now use those ideas or those procedures to help us make what are called circumscribed circles. Circumscribed circles are circles that pass through all 3 vertices of a triangle. And as you can tell, the triangle is inside there, and the circle touches all 3 of the vertices. Okay? So how we do that is this. First, we have to make 3 perpendicular bisectors. All right, we're going to make 3 perpendicular bisectors. You're going to use all 3 sides of a triangle and find their perpendicular bisector. All right, once you have found all 3 of them, they're all going to meet at one point. That one point is called the circumcenter. Okay. All right, that's going to meet, and it's going to be called the circumcenter. Once you have found the circumcenter, you can create the circle, and then the center point is at that point. So center point of circle is at circumcenter. So let's take a look. So I have this triangle here. Let me get some room. So what I need to do is I need to make 3 perpendicular bisectors. So I'm going to start with this portion of the triangle here. Same rules apply. Start at the end point. I want to be more than halfway. So then I make a mark, come on over, make another mark, make sure I go all the way across, move my compass, and then I make a mark here, move it over here, make my mark here. So now what I have is my first perpendicular bisector. So I'm going to make a line. I'm going to connect it from here to here. Okay, so that's part 1. The next part is to find the second one. So I'm going to go over here. I need to find, see, that's clearly not halfway. So I'm going to extend it to here. So now I got this portion here, and I have this tick mark here. Finally going to go over here, move it, and make my intersection. And then I'm going to make my intersection again, which now I have another perpendicular bisector. That's not a good location. I'm going to delete that line. Let's try a better one. Here and here. Okay, so what I need to do with this line here is I kind of need to extend it a little bit. So I'm going to kind of extend my line here. So it looks like these 2 intersect right there. I can't prove that yet. So now I have to make sure that the last side bisects and it connects at this point. So I go over here. I make my mark. I'm going to extend it just a little bit further. I'm going to come over here, make my mark here, and make my mark here. Finally, go over here, got my intersection, and got my intersection. So, and I know it's not going to be an exact science, so got my lines, and it does in fact intersect at all three of those sides. So now what you can do is finally you're going to use your compass. I'm going to make it a blue color, and what you're going to do is you're going to place the center of your compass at the circumcenter, and then you're going to position your compass to one of the vertices. So I'm going to try to position as best I can, and then I'm going to make a circle all the way around, and it should cross all three vertexes of the triangle. And then granted, with compass and straight edge, it's not going to be perfect, but doing these procedures will help. Okay, let's take a look at one more. All right, so I have this triangle here. So what I want to do is I want to get out my compass, and I want to make, again, 3 perpendicular bisectors. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to start at this triangle here, and I am going to strike a mark here and here. Next, I'm going to move my compass, again, also without. So now I have the mark here and also here. And if you kind of look at that, it looks like it's right at the midpoint, so I'm going to say here's my perpendicular bisector for this first side. Now let's go to the next side. So I got this here, strike a mark, strike another mark, go over here, oops, looks like it's kind of meeting at the midpoint of this, could be a right angle, so I'm going to make the assumption that it's the midpoint of the hypotenuse. So it goes right here, and then finally, whoops, I'll delete that line. And then finally, I'm going to make one more perpendicular bisector. I'm going to extend my, actually I'm going to make it a little different color. So strike a mark, and strike a mark here, move the compass, bring it across. Whoops, looks like I didn't extend it as well as I would like. So also not even over here either. Let's try this again. So I go over here. And that'll happen sometimes. So go over here, finish it up. Looks like I'm going to make a line. Looks like it's going to be the exact same line as it is right there. So that's kind of nice. So then finally, looks like the perpendicular bisector's right there. Or the circumcenter, I'm sorry. So if I match it up as best I can, as you can see, all of the vertices connect to that circle. All right, and that is being able to not only use perpendicular bisectors, but also discover how to find circumscribed circles. Hope this helps. Until next time.